Welcome and thank you for coming. I'm Alyssa Bigelman and I'm here live from cold, rainy, dark London. Really, it is quite like that right now. I'm very excited to be here. Welcome to our first episode of a Sweet Life Wellness podcast series. As part of our series, today we're launching the topic of mindfulness and transforming habits. I'm going to be coming along on this journey with you as our leader, Kay, has a lot of insightful ideas and thoughts to share with us. Kay is the owner of Sweet Life Wellness in Maryland and has some amazing ideas to share. Hello, Kay.
Hello, Alyssa. And I'm so excited to be here with you today, too, because this is the first podcast series we've ever done at Sweet Life Wellness. So it is very exciting, and it's wonderful to be able to share with you these insights on how to create change in our lives and how to transform habits. And it's my sheer delight to do that. What's so important, though, is we have a challenge in this country, and we have a huge challenge because half of American adults have a diet-related condition like diabetes, heart disease, or obesity, and it's preventable, and it's making us sick. And here we have 117 million Americans who are sick that could be helped by eating differently. And yet, we are also, many of us, frustrated with old habits. And changing them is easier said than done. I mean, we want to create new habits, but how do we do that? I mean, that is the question. And hi, I am Kay Loughrey, founder and owner of Sweet Life Wellness. I'm a registered dietitian-nutritionist and a healthy eating coach. And I bring 30 plus years of experience helping people with their health. And what I love to do is help people build a healthy relationship with food. And now what we're doing with this episode is to help you be able to make better choices and do this with intention and with mindfulness. And why I'm doing this is because I found mindfulness to be so helpful, both for myself and for the people that I work with. And you might be asking, well, what is mindfulness then? And really, mindfulness is a way for us to get back into the moment we are in and really get back in touch with what's important to us. And when we're in the moment, it's really hard to be stressed out. And it's also easier to feel more joy. And then it's easier to make change happen in our lives. So that's really what we're doing here with our series, our podcast series on living your healthy, sweet life. And within that bigger series, we have a series on mindfulness and transforming habits. And today's episode is really about the mindfulness and habit change connection.
That sounds amazing. I know many people, including myself, struggle with a relationship with food. And so I'd actually love to know how you were able to combat that and continue to live a healthy life.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really did have a journey to build my own healthy relationship with food before I could start helping anyone else. And, it kind of started like this. And one Saturday afternoon, when I was a little girl, I was in my house and I just walked out of my bedroom and I came to the kitchen and I peeked in and I saw my mom pouring chocolate chips into a bowl. And that was pretty exciting. And before long, I was smelling the aroma of melted dark chocolate and butter and brown sugar. And then I knew there were going to be chocolate chip cookies coming. And my mom made the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. And that's how I knew that she loved me. And yet, when I was 8 years old, I started eating, but it wasn't eating. I was hiding. I was hiding. I was hiding because something bad had happened to me. And when something goes wrong, we want to fix it, don't we? And I was fixing it by eating all the pies, cakes, and cookies my mom was making me. And that's where my food cravings started. That's where I started comforting myself with food. And really, I was playing a game of hide and seek. And as a trauma survivor, I was protecting myself. And I was also trying to protect my parents from the truth. And, what was really challenging is what I often just felt numb in my life. Sometimes I felt very emotional, but most of the time I felt like an outsider in my life. And, I was so impressed with a book I came across, and I'm going to introduce this book to you by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, a book on the bestseller list, New York Times bestseller list for 100 weeks. And this book is amazing, and I highly recommend it. It's called The Body Keeps the Score: The Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. And I'm going to read just a little bit from what he said. He was talking about how people react to triggers that come from the past and originate with trauma. And he wrote, as a result, shame becomes the dominant emotion, and hiding the truth, the central occupation. Well, that was me, but not only me. There's lots of people who've had trauma, people who are in our family, our friends, our neighbors. It happens to so many people. And you know what? I had to learn how to transform my life from the inside and turn my life around. I was obsessed with food and dieting, yo-yo dieting, as I've already mentioned. And finally, I realized I need help. I can't do this alone. And I got a coach. I got a coach who worked with me to figure out why I was making the food choices I was making and how to create a healthy relationship with myself. And finally, how to build a healthy relationship with food. And the thing is I really didn't have the relationships I wanted to have. And I almost lost the relationship with my husband because I was hiding and playing that game of hide and seek. So I was so grateful that the coach I worked with lifted the veil from all of this, from especially why I was doing what I was doing, and helped me find an alternative. And what I learned from all of this was that I could change my life. And I've discovered that you can change your life too. And change is available to you. And I'm not just saying this to make you feel good. And I am going to show you mindful techniques to help you change your life during our podcast series, especially the mindfulness and transforming habits, which we're going to be working on together for the next few weeks so that you can live more fully, more intentionally, and with a greater sense of joy.
Wow. What you have accomplished is truly remarkable. And of course, we know that it's not this quick process that you can just jump through. But I guess we should just begin with how we can implement habit change in our lives.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's not a quick fix. And some call it the 21-day fix, or talk about 6 weeks to change your life, to change a habit. But it is really more than that. And it's really, with mindfulness, it helps us more easily release those old habits and bring change into our lives. And the three key ingredients, though, are awareness is number one, compassion, and having an open mind. And I found all of these things in my journey first, and then in helping other people. And so beginning with awareness, we discover why we make the choices we make and how we got to where we are today, and what those relationships were and how they influenced us. So it takes a little excavation and looking inside to figure out how we got those habits, the old habits, and then to be able to start to be aware so that we can begin to form the new habits, the habits that we want to have the relationship with ourselves that we want to have, and be able to live the life that we want to live without extra weight that we don't want to have. And one of my clients, Jeannie, when she first came to me, she told me, food controls me. I want to stop it, but I don't know how. Can you help me? And I said, yes. And we did an assessment and we figured out what was going on, the kind of stress that was happening in her life and what to do about it. And she was impressive. She managed people during the day. She managed budgets. She drove home for 30 minutes, a 30-minute commute. And then when she got home, well, she had to cook dinner for her husband and her kids. And while she did that, though, she mindlessly ate and felt bad about herself. And that's when she was feeling controlled by food. And after dinner, she spent a little time with her family, but then she had to call her ailing parents and help them figure out what to do about today's crisis. So we developed a plan together. And that plan was when she got home from work, to go right upstairs, change her clothes, and take a few minutes for herself, to do some breathing, to do some relaxation exercises, and release the stress before she made dinner. So that's what she did. And then she was able to make dinner without nibbling away from stress and really release that sense of feeling controlled by food. And so that awareness, she was able to bring that awareness into action, and with remarkable change. She just said, no, I don't feel that way anymore. It's gone. So then there's compassion. And so many of us are worrying about the future or thinking about the past, stuck in the past, like I was. And though when we pay attention to the moment we're in, we can feel so much more joy and so less stressed. And then comes the opportunity for change. Because often, what we usually do, though, is we're stressed and then we make a change that's going to even lead to more stress and say, oh my God, why did I do that? I didn't even want those chips. So when we're paying attention in the moment, we're feeling more alert. We're able to feel more refreshed. And as one of my favorite people, a Tibetan Buddhist nun named Pema Chodron, she wrote in one of her little books, it's called Start Where You Are, a guide to compassionate living. And what I'm going to quote her now. And she said, the reason that people harm other people, and the reason the planet is polluted, and the reason that animals and people are not doing so well now, is that individuals don't know or trust or love themselves again. Isn't that remarkable? And so what we're talking about is creating a more friendly relationship with ourselves. And if we can start with self-compassion, being compassionate for ourselves, we can discover how to apply it to other people. And so this is a journey of compassion, and I invite you to take this journey with us.
Wow. I really like that you continue to refer to this as a journey, as obviously nothing happens overnight. And with anything in life, there's going to be, ups and downs, and not everything is going to go right all the time. We're not trying to, reach perfection. We're just trying to, learn to accept ourselves, and that, we're human and mistakes can be made. And I think that everything that you're saying is just shows that that's clear.
Yes, and that's absolutely right. And I think I've already mentioned that the idea most people have is they want a quick fix. They want it overnight. And though when we allow ourselves to not be perfect, we can allow ourselves to make mistakes and get up, dust ourselves off, and continue the change journey instead of throwing in the towel. So, so all of this really helped me. The third thing that really helped me, maybe even the most, was being able to come with a beginner's mind to the idea of habit change. And
what is a beginner's mind?
oh, yes, a beginner's mind. And, you wouldn't, there's no way you would have known, right? It comes, this idea from a beginner's mind comes from a old Zen master, and I'm stumbling over his name always. It's Shunryu Suzuki. And he had a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And the whole idea is to be able to come into life with the sense like a child does, new, open, refreshed, without judgment, and being able to be receptive, and being not only being able to be receptive, but curious. And that becomes a springboard for change. So now we're really closing in on the end of our episode. And I want to share with you something that's very personal to me. And it's something that came to me that I received that I want to share about how can we cultivate compassion. And really all we need to do to cultivate compassion is to be able to know that we are doing the best that we can do. And that when we avoid pain, we're avoiding what's in our heart. And when we avoid pain in relationships, we're closing our heart to the value that those relationships can be for us. So then we become isolated. And the pain of loneliness, though, is really a self-created prison. And the bars of these prisons come from fear and uncertainty. And the prison door that we can unlock are about those old beliefs that we formed once, way back when in the past. So together, we can grasp the key and set ourselves free. And our freedom comes when we experience the moment just as it is. So, after all, the famous Japanese author Haruki Murakami once said, "Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional." It's optional? Really? Suffering is optional? Yes, it is optional, and we do have a choice. So the last thing I want to share with you is that we have some additional resources that Alyssa is going to share with you right now. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Wow, this has been amazing insight and a great start to our journey into cultivating change and, living a healthier life. So I wanted to share with you guys that as part of this episode and the other episodes of the Mindfulness and Transforming Habits series, we'll offer a video that leads you guys through breathing exercises and meditation, which will help you master your change. And also, if you'd like to apply what you've learned today and transform your habits, you can open the PDF workbook that comes along with each episode of the series and do the exercises that will give you the additional actions that you need to help create the change that you're looking for. Another option is, of course, you can just call Kay and set up a time to talk with her and see how she can help you in your journey. And if you would like to subscribe to our video, you can do that through Spotify, iTunes. You can watch us here on YouTube, and you can watch us live on Facebook Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Sweet Life Wellness Facebook page. Each episode builds upon the experience of the previous episodes. So in order to benefit, it's just best to start at the beginning and listen to each session in sequence, and then use the workbook pages for each session to use those exercises that are designed to be a part of that specific episode. And so thank you guys so much, and we hope you can join us for episode 2, Cultivating Mindfulness, next week.